1988, Ayrton Senna, having proved his pace and his front-running qualities, he moved to join Alain Prost at McLaren.
Alain Prost was the best driver.
Alain, who obviously felt he was well nested down at McLaren, and the young pretender coming in and clearly threatening that position. Both had great intellects and both were very good racing drivers. Beating each other became far more challenging than beating the rest of the field.
You were a teammate of Alain Prost. What do you think about him? I said, well, you know, Alain's a tremendous driver, very clever in the team. The team were truly focused on Prost. Any driver who's been in the team with him really would seem to be the number 2 driver. And I said, you know, when you come into the team, I would suggest that, you know, you feel your way and you get to understand how Alain works and how his favour in the team is established. I said, no, I don't think so. I'm going to go and make myself, first of all, physically and mentally stronger than anybody else in Formula One. And I'm going to make Prost, my teammate, come to me, not me go to him. And I'm going to go in there and I'm going to blitz him.
For sure, we knew it was going to be fireworks, but we were expecting it, you know, and Ron was expecting it too, because you can manage them for a while, but after a while, it was, you have a time bomb, you know, ready to go in any time.
Senna waving his arms frantically with dire gearbox problems. He was going to have to start from the pit lane in the spare car. Prost making a great start down the inside.
And here comes Senna.
This man Senna, who'd come from the pit lane, was closing inexorably. Second place for Senna.
And Ayrton Senna's great drive from the back of the field is about to come to nothing, because there it is, the black flag. He was out.
Yes, he was black flagged for using the spare car after the green flag was shown.
And here's Prost coming up to win the race, actually his 5th Brazilian Grand Prix, and he makes it look so easy.
There we are, the checkered flag.
So I never worked so hard because I was obliged with this car, and everything was wrong since 2 days. So, and if I didn't work like that, I could have won this race.
Ayrton Senna at the front on pole position leaves his teammate. And there, Ayrton Senna holding a great lead from his second pole position. And Prost was closing in on Piquet, who thought he was safe. But Prost had already taken Patrese and he was in 3rd place, now challenging for that 2nd position. Patrese down there in 4th. Honda v Honda. Brazilian against the Frenchman down on the inside. Alain Prost, a beautiful manoeuvre on the inside this time going into the corner.
And here's Senna coming up to take the checkered flag, which may make up for his disappointment of losing the race before. And this is his first win, of course, in the McLaren. But not far behind him is Prost, who, if he'd had a slightly better start, you never know, it could have been a much closer race.
Yes, indeed, it was the first 1-2 of the year for McLaren. Senna first.
I think if he had a similar start as I, it would have been harder for both of us. It would be a good big fight, and God knows what would happen. So I don't feel that happy that things went the way they went.
It's fine. It's, of course, everything is new to me, so I have to learn quite a bit technically and personally with everybody, every team member. But I'm finding well inside this environment.
At some stage, you're going to have a battle with your own teammate Alain Prost. How are you feeling about that?
We will compete with each other, and I hope the best professional manner as possible.
For the first time in his career, the car able to be world champion. and he doesn't want to let his chance, going away. That's normal, and he's going to push on.
What about you?
It's a little bit different.
So you're gonna let it go?
I have a little bit more pressure than, he put me more pressure.
I think you could see smiles, but at the same time, some slightly strange body language as they realised just where they were and what was going to unfold. Alain, who obviously felt he was well nested down at McLaren, and the young pretender coming in and clearly threatening that position. Both had great intellects and both were very good racing drivers. Beating each other became far more challenging than beating the rest of the field.
I suddenly realized that I was no longer driving conscious, and I was in a different dimension for me. Circuit for me was a tunnel, which I was just going, and I realized I was well beyond my conscious understanding.
PK, 12th for Strack, 13th for Alain, 14th for Gooselman, 15th Sala, 16th Wilson, 17th Cappy, 18th Larrauri, 19th the Cesaris, 20th...
I suspect he was probably going through the agonies of the damned in trying to beat this man, Prost, who was so good, so smooth, so different, so calculating, so experienced in comparison with him.
Alain was the king, and Ayrton went in there intent on, if I beat the king, there's only one conclusion anyone can draw.
And it's 1, 2, 3, etc. The Monte Carlo start for 1988. Senna was on the pole, his third pole. Prost started badly yet again, and Berger got ahead of him into second place, so Prost down in third. So Senna went on into the lead. As Senna goes on, he had 9 car lengths over Berger in second place. Ferrari of Berger, and there was Prost Sterling right behind, having a job on his hands.
Yeah, well, this is not to be surprised. I mean, this particular circuit is very, very difficult. Both these cars have got turbos and obviously got them turned right up. And although he could draw alongside, he just couldn't quite get the edge to get past him.
Ayrton had nearly a minute's lead.
Senna leading by 40 seconds now, an enormous margin.
And then suddenly Alain went by Gerhard.
Prost is taking, he's done it! Prost has taken Berger!
And then started carving lap record after lap record, taking 2-3 seconds a lap on Senna. And Ron is mad, he keeps shouting, he's not going to catch you, it's impossible, never catch you, slow down. Alain keep going quicker, so keep looking at the board. Alain closer and closer. And Ron, he keeps shouting, he's not going to catch you, it's impossible, never catch you, slow down. He lost control.
Ayrton Senna has hit the wall. Ayrton Senna is out of his car and out of this race.
Ayrton Senna goes out of the lead of the Monaco 4.
Absolutely incredible.
He never wanted to beat me, he wanted to humiliate me. He wanted to show the people that he was much stronger, much better, and that was his weakness.
He was told to
His post-accident unfiltered emotion. It was pure anger with himself, and he couldn't cope with it at all. He actually walked back to his apartment, and it was 2 or 3 hours before he surfaced.
I just came to so close to perfection that weekend that I opened windows for mistakes, and I learned that there. And since then, I progressively come back because I lost some confidence at that moment, and progressively I fight back, and I got much stronger after that instant. Somehow I got closer to God, and that has been very important for me as a man.
So the Mexican Grand Prix was to be the 4th round of the World Championship in 1988, and Senna had got his 4th consecutive pole position, and Prost just ahead. He was at the start, but Piquet demoting Senna down to 3rd place. There's Prost in the lead. Piquet under attack from Senna. And watch out for Senna diving inside Piquet and taking 2nd place. Alain Prost in the lead. First, Alain Prost in the McLaren. 2nd, Senna.
Can't push hard like him all the time. Every day, every practice, every race, starts, try to make the pole position, everything. I can't do it anymore. I recognize him, it's get too old maybe.
On the start grid, all McLaren front row, Senna on pole, and happy at being on the outside, but a great start nonetheless from Alain Prost on the inside, taking the lead. Prost in the lead, and there was Senna pushing him hard at this point.
He's obviously trying to force him into making a mistake, but that isn't the sort of thing that works with the professor.
Senna closing in, waiting for during the season.
But I think one has to be massively fair to Alain to accept having this guy coming in, because he knew that wasn't going to be a trip to Paris, that he was going to be hard work.
Senna just in 1st place from Alain Prost 2nd.
This championship is a little bit strange because I would say last year, 2 years ago, 6 points would have been fantastic. But this year, because we only get 11 results, like last year, but we have such a competitive car that one of the driver could win 11 races. So maybe 6 points is not enough at the end of the year.
Of the Formula One World Championship, and here in Detroit, Senna at his 6th pole position, but Prost down in 4th position. Senna forging ahead. Behind him, Berger, car 28. Behind him, Alboreto, then Boutsen, then Prost to finish the 1st lap. Prost starts to make his move, goes inside Boutsen and retakes that 4th place that he lost earlier. Yeah, Senna really pulling away. Leader Senna into the pits for fresh tyres. He still managed to keep the lead. Ayrton Senna went on to victory on his very last lap. Wave to the photographers, to the checkered flag, and victory in the Detroit Grand Prix. And Prost finished in 2nd place. All teammates side by side, but Prost makes the best start. And it's Senna going inside Berger, getting 2nd place. Prost is quite determined to get ahead in this, his home event. and Senna is equally determined not to let him get too far ahead, and Senna managed to nip in for fresh tyres before his teammate and leader Alain Prost. Here comes Prost, and his pit stop took a little bit longer than Ayrton Senna's, so psychologically that was a battle he had to win as well.
Well, I think this puts enormous pressure on the pit crew, you know, because they're so good, they are so fast, and yet only needs the slightest fumble on one of their...
In second place, just about 3 seconds behind his teammate Ayrton Senna. So, Senna under pressure now.
He's obviously feeling it because he's locked up on quite a few laps, I think.
Want to let him win this, his home Grand Prix.
Here's an interesting manoeuvre. Look, he's pulled out from behind Piquet's slipstream, but now these two back markers, Caffey and Martini, I think having their own dice and haven't noticed it.
And Senna has been completely boxed in by those two back markers and jumped by Prost. Prost has retaken the lead from Senna.
Yeah, very surprised that a man with his experience would let that happen.
There's Prost on his last lap, heading for victory in the French Grand Prix from pole position, reasserted himself at the front over Senna. It's Berger into the lead, Alboreto in second place, Senna third. Came up in the lead to lap Prost. He faltered coming out of that corner, and Senna dived on his inside into the lead as they lapped Prost, and Senna forced his teammate Prost out of the way.
And there's Senna, a fantastic win for Senna.
So Ayrton Senna on his customary pole position for the German Grand Prix after a 2-race absence. Senna off into the lead, but Prost another bad start. Senna in the lead of the German Grand Prix. Gerhard Berger now being attacked by Prost, who's gone past Nannini and up into third place. Gerhard Berger in the Ferrari now coming under attack from Alain Prost. Third place in the McLaren. That's that long straight down the back past the east curve. Prost going down the inside and into second place. Yes.
A lovely avoidance he did, beautiful.
Difficult east curve, and even Alain Prost, the best of them, spins off at that treacherous part of the track. Ayrton Senna, 1 lap to go, the wet weather master. In the wet, Senna first, Prost second.
Good fun. We will have good fun from now on.
Maybe we fight outside the car.
I think it's gonna get more and more exciting, the championship.
Is it possible to be equal? The championship?
No.
Shit.
Can only be one winner.
Here it was thought the normally aspirated cars could be in with a chance. Ayrton Senna was on pole again, of course, his 8th of the year, and he certainly tried hard to claim it.
So Ayrton Senna in his pole position, his usual position, but behind him 3 atmospheric cars. Nigel Mansell pulling alongside at the start, but Alain Prost, an awful start from his 7th grid position. Mansell pushing Senna hard. And there's Prost taking a place from Gugelmin, and he's taking 8th place. Well, there's Prost now moving in on Mansell. But Senna still in the lead. Prost now past Patrese. And Alain Prost showed that he'd really got the bit between the teeth as he dived inside Boutsen at the end of the pit straight to take second place, and really caught Ayrton Senna up as Senna struggled behind a couple of back markers. So it was all down to the McLaren drivers at the front. The contest was wide open yet again. Prost closing in on Senna, right up back behind his gearbox and onto the pit straight. Prost having a look, Senna going past the back markers, and this is what Prost did. He nearly got closed out down by the pit wall, but he got into the lead, albeit briefly. He ran wide and Senna went back inside. Senna first, Prost second.
That's all. I mean, nothing to say. It's a shame, but I did not lose the race at this point. I lost it more yesterday in qualifying, and also when I had a problem at the end of the race, wheel bearing problem, I think. I'm really disappointed for this race because it's not normally a good circuit for me, and I was very good.
But Ayrton Senna was on pole again for a record equaling 9th time in the year. Alain Prost, second on the grid, said he had to win this one in order to stay in the hunt.
And they're all afraid when you have wet condition, and we should all say that it's not good to race in a very wet condition because you have no visibility. And everybody will say in the next 10 years that it's not good when it's wet, which is not true, because I can be quick when it's wet.
Ayrton Senna in his 9th pole position. Away they head towards La Source hairpin. And Alain Prost got into the lead, got there first, ahead of Ayrton Senna. Very close indeed, but Senna is attacking Prost. And Senna on this first lap had got ahead of Prost into first place in the Belgian Grand Prix. Senna still in the lead, but Berger attacking Prost for that second place. Miles an hour, and there's Senna in the lead on his last lap of the Belgian Grand Prix. Takes the checkered flag.
Yes, I think it's over. I mean, there's no point to believe that I can win all the races. Ayrton is very quick, even more motivated than he was at the beginning of the year. So there's no reason to. I'm not stupid.
A record-breaking 10th pole for Ayrton Senna at Monza. And so to the Italian Grand Prix itself, the two Ferraris filling the second row, the McLarens filling the front row as Prost got the jump on Senna at the start of the Monza event, as Senna really piles on the power. Coming up towards the end of the first lap, already pulling out a big gap on Alain Prost in second place. Regain the track. But Prost was already in engine problems with a weak mixture on the Honda engine. Berger was closing in at this point, about to snatch second place from him. In the meantime, Prost had been radioing back to his pit that he was going to come in. Probably it was terminal. Berger snatched second place. Senna still leading the Italian Grand Prix. McLaren driver then made that mistake. But he was trying very hard indeed and finally secured the pole for the second time in the season. In fact, while Senna went out to try and get it back, Prost was already changed out of his overalls and was watching his Brazilian teammate sweat, while Prost was cool as ever. And And on the restart, the McLaren drivers had a real battle as Prost tried to force Senna off onto the outside and squeeze him out, but Senna was having none of it. Brand new chassis here, goes back on the attack. On lap 2, he forced his way inside Senna, and Senna tried to squeeze him out and towards the pit wall this time after their incident at the restart. Capelli was showing the form of the March and just how much advancement the March team had made. And this was the moment when Capelli dived inside Ayrton Senna and took second place for the March. Berger now closing in on poor Senna as Prost went away at the head of the field. Alain Prost in the lead. Now the march, the ever-closing march of Capelli, closely followed by Berger, started hauling in the leader in the McLaren. Prost took victory and a 5-point lead in the World Championship at this stage in the season.
Yeah, I was very surprised because normally, especially the first lap, when you do that with your teammates, you don't have a big problem like this. But I don't understand. He should have some reason to do it. But that's a problem between him and me, and I don't want to tell anything bad because I think we should solve the problem very quickly. There's no problem at all.
Prost and Mansell got ahead of poleman Senna through the first corner. Senna down to third place. Prost in the lead. Mansell in second place, and Senna made this challenge to try and get second place. He did, briefly from Mansell, ran wide, and Mansell dived back inside. Senna in third place. And behind Senna now came Capelli. Capelli closing in, challenging for third position. Dived inside Ayrton Senna at the slow hairpin back onto the pit straight to take third position from Senna. Senna down to fourth. Alessandro Nannini, who'd caught up, challenging from fourth place. Try and get third place off Senna, which he did beautifully going into that slow corner. Leader Prost came into the pits. Ron Dennis was holding the lollipop stick, keeping him there.
But now he's back out there again.
And still in the lead, the Spanish Grand Prix, Alain Prost, an upturn in fortunes for him. And Senna came into the pits for fresh tyres. He'd been in fourth position. He dropped down to seventh place after this pit stop by the McLaren mechanics. But Senna back out on the track now and really fighting hard, taking fifth place from Gerhard Berger, and he was to go on and finish fourth. Very useful points. Meantime, Prost had soaked up all the pressure, turned the fortunes back around. The focus of attention was on the McLaren duo. Alain Prost was still in with a chance of the World Championship, but if Ayrton Senna should win here in Japan, then he would take the World Championship crown. And of course, through all this tension, they still had to work together in the same team, pooling their information. Senna needed to win this one, but he stalled, and Berger very nearly took him out. Piquet somehow managed to avoid him, and Nakajima back there stalled as well. The only reason he was able to get going was because of the incline of the track and rolled it down. So, Alain Prost went into the lead in the Japanese Grand Prix. Ayrton Senna moved up to 8th place. His meteoric progress through the field was something to behold. Senna went through into 7th position, past Patrese there. Senna still working hard, now taking 6th place from Nannini. Ayrton Senna in 3rd place. So Prost still in the lead just from Ivan Capelli, but Senna had been closing in, carving his way through the field. He had the March and the leading McLaren in his sights. Tremendous moment then for Ayrton Senna as he savoured that feeling of a job perfectly accomplished, his 8th win of the year and the World Championship crown.